I spent over $251,651 on my health, and here's what works. The difference between a health system and a routine is one continuously pays dividends on our level of creation, while the other one is just a fad that we can't necessarily prove or pin down if it's actually benefiting us. When it comes down to a health system, we're using data, science, teams, and leverage to be healthier in smarter ways. And the reason why most entrepreneurs fail with health routines is because they're not using the same leverage that they use in their business to find success with their number one constraint on a day-to-day basis, which is their health. As ultimately, it takes so much energy to maintain a routine, whereas if I hire a chef or a personal trainer, or if I do blood testing, I'm paying for information and for things to be done for me so that I can free up my time without necessarily having to put in more effort towards being healthier. It's the exact same analogy as taking all the sales calls in our business versus hiring somebody that has that dedicated set role of taking the sales calls and then training the rest of the sellers and closers up. It's a willpower game, because just like in business, there are millions of things to do with our health in order to get the highest levels of output out of ourselves. And that's ultimately why systems exist. They're to make the effort and sacrifice reduced while giving us a higher likelihood of success, and ultimately something that we can never achieve on our own. And this is exactly where most health advice falls flat on its face. The reason why it's useless for most entrepreneurs or business professionals is because it's all somewhat of the same spew of info products. And an info product or a book is great, but at the end of the day, the thing that makes and scales our ability to create or put the info into work is the actual ability to turn it into an asset and turn it into a system. And that's exactly why most health trends or fads or Huberman are simply just that. They're fads of information, and they're not assets or vehicles that we can immediately plug into our lives to increase our health at a lower cost of opportunity. So instead, use these core pillars that I've implemented to scale my health alongside my business as we approach $1 million. The first pinnacle is understanding and removing all the ignorance that I had about my body. I don't know what's going on in my stomach right now. You don't either. Or where your blood work is at, or if your supplement levels are at balance, or if your heart is healthy, or if you have too much LDL cholesterol, or all these things. They're all happening on the background, but we don't have them in real time. So the first thing I did was I did rigorous testing, gut testing, blood work, DEXA scan, also got a Garmin. And using all these data points, I was able to consolidate and understand what my body was trying to communicate to me. And in doing so, I didn't have to deal with the symptoms of my pre-exposed condition for much longer. I was in control of my body, my choices, and I knew what was holding me back and what areas I needed to focus on. So by using that, I broke down my systems. And my systems, just like yours and everybody's on this earth, are boiled down into these constraints: our recovery, our performance, and our fuel systems. So I first did the data analysis to understand what are these systems, where am I at personally, and what are my bottlenecks towards making sure that the shit that I have to do on a day-to-day basis isn't constrained and there's no blockages. Just because I couldn't see or feel what was going on, it doesn't mean things were happening in the background. And so by first doing the data piece, I immediately hired an asset to buy back my time, a housekeeper chef that comes in and takes care of my entire home, so that I'm not the one putting my health into motion because I have to grow my business. On top of that, I made non-negotiables around my sleep, my fuel, and my performance to ensure that I was competing at a high level. I just came off of a sub 4-hour marathon for my first marathon. I bike over 100 to 200 kilometers a week. I get 8 to 9 hours of sleep every single night. And I'm on track to make sure that I'm respecting my body with the inputs that it needs to perform at the highest level of creation and furthermore output. And the coolest part is all of these systems function on the background. Whenever my gut testing or my bloods come in, they get integrated into our database. And using that data, we create meal plans, training, recovery, and everything that I need to do to make sure that I'm meeting the body's needs and also hitting my goals. And ultimately, it just comes down to low friction. If I can reduce the friction between me having to eat something that's going to heal me, I'm going to take every single step in that process to eliminate the shopping, cooking, cleaning, grunt work, and everything that I have to do to actually get that input or get that food inside of me. And that's the best set and forget system that I've ever thought of. It's being able to take data and immediately put it into work with people that know how to cook, and clean and do everything better than I can so that I can focus on my business, which is funny enough about doing the same thing for everyone else. Those are the biggest levers on my time because I'm subconsciously leveling myself up as I help derive abundance with other people. So if you're a 7, 8, or 9-figure entrepreneur and you're looking to quadruple and reach the highest levels of output imaginable with yourself and in your business, you're going to have to tackle your health, your recovery, your fuel, your performance. All these things are non-negotiables that you have to do in your human body on a day-to-day basis. Until we're cybernetic robots and we're creating and we're living very long lives, we're going to have to continue to respect the body and meet it where it's at. So we build this system comprised of all the testing, all the programming, hiring the right people, and installing it in your home so that you can level up in your life and in your work without having to think about any of it on the back end. We have a pro Ironman coach, as well as a doctor and a geneticist on the team, making sure that everything's in tip-top shape for you.